comment, whether you thought that was appropriate in terms of a response, basically.
Unjustified.
So we had basically 19 people who voted on the poll this morning, and of the 19, 10 of you said yes, you do think the Prime Minister was justified. 9 of you said no, so it was pretty close. So 10 of you said yes, and 9 of you said no.
I just have one question. How is this happening in the country? He's logging on, Steve.
So,
well, how is this happening as out of our economic woes?
Well, I suppose your image is distracting. I cannot concentrate.
Yeah,
it's distracting you?
I don't know what
it's
image
actually
is that.
Distracting you?
Well, I must say it's quite an improvement. Fuad, Paul looks very nice there, doesn't he?
Morning, Dr. Khan.
Morning.
How are you this morning?
You're looking like the silver fox.
That's a good comparison.
That's a good one. How you doing?
Richard, hi.
Hi, Dr. Khan. So, maybe we could ask you our poll question, because our poll question this morning was whether our listeners felt that the Prime Minister's response by posting up Roots and Kunta Kinte was appropriate and justified in response to what Kamala Persad-Bissessar had said in terms of her statement. I don't know what's your view?
My view is that the Prime Minister is an excellent politician, and he knows exactly how to stir the crowd, especially the base. And he uses the imagery quite well. Now, he has come out in defense of his member, and that is an extremely good politician, and we could learn from that. So basically, the people of the country should look at this, look at the whole thing, stand back and think you're looking at a TV and you're looking at a football game, but it's just politics. One person kicking the ball to the other side, the other one trying to score the goals. And it's nothing real. It's all an illusion. Don't ever think it's real. Everything there is not real. Don't ever believe it is. So when you're looking at the game, you are looking at TV with an illusion.
So who's playing for Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, nobody. You're looking at two foreign teams there.
Because while this game is going on, I mean, what's happening with the country?
Well, the country is sitting on the sidelines, drinking popcorn and eating drinking beer and thing.
And you mentioned earlier on that the Prime Minister defended his member in terms of Mrs. Robinson Regis, I'm presuming you're referencing. So then why shouldn't Mrs. Persad-Bissessar's members then defend her? Because so then it'll become you say, I say, you say, I say, and then where we ended up.
Well, Paul, you're quite correct. That's part of the whole illusion game. It's a game. It's a game to get the attention of the base. Now, the base, when you look at a triangle, right? The base has more people than the top. The top and the middle, they are the thinkers. The base just are the reactors. And in politics, such as ours, we go according to a bell curve. The bell curve is where you can where you could attract the response of the majority, and the majority of the base who don't think. So that's what the Prime Minister has done. He's extremely good at that. When you hear Dr. Rowley talk, sometimes in political tones and political spins, and also Ms. Persad-Bissessar and Bastille Pandey and Patrick Manning were masters, that you find you will see that the imagery that is created is part of the game, the illusion of capturing the base on your side.
But the base is yours already. How is that helping to keep you in power, get you in power?
No. Paul, you're not a politician. That's why. The base is a fickle thing. It moves. You want to capture the base and keep them there.
The core base, the core PNM and UNC base is fickle?
No. You're creating all the base, not just the core. You won't get the UNC base, and the UNC will not get the core PNM base. You're looking for the other base that jumps around. And it's a numbers game. You don't have to get 100% to win an election. You know, you gotta get 51% or 50.1.
Just pass the post.
Yeah. If it's proportional representation, that rubbish wouldn't go on because then you're in a different game.
So
It's
somebody's
all
going
a
to
game.
answer. So somebody's going to answer the Kunta Kinte video now, and we continue on for the
Yeah,
next 2
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. You go see
Okay.
jumping back and forth. You go see
All right.
jumping back and forth. Gay, watch your gay popcorn and your
Let
sweet
me
drink.
let
And
me
your,
put back on my avatar then because I don't think I want to be here
yeah,
in person.
you better put you watch it. That your avatar is what the game is about. Unreal.
I guess
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That's exactly is really unreal in truth.
Yeah.
And you're right because sometimes when you sit in that place, you realize it's quite more theatrics than in a lot of cases.
It is only theatrics. Only. Sometimes somebody who comes with real talk and real things, Paul, and they know what people laugh at them.
Like, you're right. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm gone with that now.
Yeah. And it's real thing talking.
Yeah, the real thing talking like, boy, you're not
But
you're not championing our agenda.
what they will say, boy, look, you conspiracy terrorist, so something wrong with you.
Yeah.
So that's the game, Richard.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so
You should,
So Dr.
yesterday,
Khan,
someone
yeah,
suggested that you throwing your hat into the UNC leadership race is also part of the game. How do you respond to that?
but of course, I'm part of the game. I've gone back into the game. And the game is this. The game is capture.
Recording in progress.
The game is
but is it?
sorry.
But
The game is
I
called,
know.
the game is called capture. If you don't go into the game and to capture and say the things that you need to say to capture, then you're not part of the game. You're part of the reality. And politics is a mix between reality and also game. So you have to be in a position to create a change. If you're not in a position to create a change, then you can't do no change.
What do you think credibly are your chances? Because in the internal election before, there was a lot of issues that it wasn't a level playing field, that there was certain corrupt or biased practices that were being executed by the executive that cemented Kamala Persad-Bissessar in that position. What's changed that you think that you can make this change and possibly win?
In politics, Richard, you never look at the past. The past is finished. If the front, you look at the front. If you look at the rearview mirror, you won't see the front what's happening to you. In politics, you look at what's happening now. And the last time, she was lucky because it was right after the election and people were feeling sorry for her. Yes, good. PNM, DPUNC base came out, PNM. And PNM at that time was part of the game. They gave out hampers and food cards to the members of parliament and everybody else a handout to keep Ms. Persad-Bissessar there at that time, right? That's what it looked like. This time, I don't think there's hampers and food card pass. It is too short. The game has changed because people are now saying that Ms. Persad-Bissessar is not handling the party affairs properly. And people like Mr. Bastille Pandey and the founder and other people who are part of the party are no longer part of it because she's not allowing them into the door. The membership, they're not happy now. So the game has changed. People want somebody to bring back that the experience to help focus on the parliament youngsters. You need that. One person alone cannot be responsible to focus on strategy. And this is what's happening now. So the membership will understand that the the previous experience head needs to come back. So this is why I threw my hat in the game to say, look, I want to be the party leader so I can bring back these people without questions asked, to give the younger people of the parliament and who wants to come back in a chance at understanding the game, understanding with experienced players how the game will work, and decide on disposing the PNM, right, with more goals this time. So the game has changed.
So when you say you're interested in bringing back, is that you're talking about Basil Pandey? Is he even interested in coming back into the UNC?
What, Richard, I am asking, what I want to do is to bring back the experienced people inside. Because right now, there are lots of UNC older people who are extremely experienced politically, and they could impart that knowledge to the young people. They are so being denied right now to enter that fray because of fear of whatever may be. And a party leader can do that. And then Ms. Prasad Bisesa could concentrate solely on the parliament.
Dr. Khan, yesterday we spoke to Vasan Bharat,
Mhm.
who indicated that, well, it's unlikely. He is not interested because it's almost unlikely that anyone will be able to unseat Mrs. Prasad Bisesa because, according to him, she's in control of the party's internal machinery. He indicated that the conjoining of the leadership and the executive is not in alignment with the party constitution and several other issues that will make a difference in anyone contesting the elections is under the control of Mrs. Prasad. I'm paraphrasing here. Do you agree with that?
Well, it has happened in the past, and he's quite correct. It's happened in the past. However, if you don't if you don't put your hat in the ring, you don't have no chance of doing anything. Although everything that you're saying could be correct, yes, it happened in the past. It could happen now. But if you okay, it's like a lotto game. If you don't have a ticket and you have $1 million to win,
But you're almost, if what you and Mr. Bharat are saying are true, it's almost like if you're filling out the ballot, but it's 5 numbers you're supposed to fill out, but 4 fill out because you already do have a chance. Your name in there is there as a formality, but based on what you and Mr. Bharat are saying, and you agreed with him, is that based on how the internal mechanisms go, you already do have a chance. Do you think it's a fair playing field in the internal election? Let me ask you the question directly.
Well, the thing about it is, in the internal election, if you are part of the team and your team is part of the electoral machinery, the chances of your team getting a blight is better. And that's what's happening with the other team. We could just be there to articulate to the members what is happening. You can't be a UNC member and want to run from an election if you want to partake in decision making. You could put things out there, and there are lots of members who are not part of that as I say, part of the other team, and they are fed up too, and they will come out. They will come out and vote.
Why would they come out and vote more now than when Mrs. Pasabi Sessa won? Is it 3 years ago? She won. She's very popular in the party, and she won before.
So she won right after the 2020 election.
And she won after a national election that she lost. So why she seems very cemented in terms of her popularity in the party.
Well, as I tell you just now, Paul, the time has changed. It's no longer that time. Politics is a strange thing, you know. It's a strange animal. You have to learn to read the water. You have to learn to read the air, read the atmosphere. The atmosphere is changing.
So you think you have a pretty good chance of winning the leadership position in the UNC?
It's all about the campaign. If the people buy into the fact that the party leader needs to be a different person than the parliamentary leader, and the party leader could develop the party to be stronger, yes, I have a chance.
So you have no problem with Mrs. Pasabi Sessa leading the party in the parliament?
No,
while you lead the party outside. Is that what you're saying?
In fact, Paul, I want her there. And I want a parliamentary team to be developed to attack, because that's where that gets the news. A party team does not get the news. A party team is what they call the engine of the whole thing. If the engine isn't great, the other part doesn't work.
So your strategy is, while Mrs. Pasabi Sessa and that team works the party and the government, you work the ground and prepare for election. Is that the strategy?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So you're focusing on the election. But to win the election, you have to make the PNM responsible for the ills of the country, which they are not looking at. There are a lot of things going on right now, not the rubbish that is being put in the forefront. Right now, Paul, there are a lot of home invasions that are not being reported, especially I see in Cascade. I know that. There are a lot of robberies, people group their car on gunpoint, not being reported. People are being abducted and raped, not being reported. There's a children authority, and you see what's happening in children, part of the not being managed. The prices are going up. We are facing a serious, possibly, I don't want to use the word famine, but food shortage in the future. It's coming when you look at the shelves. I am in Miami right now, and the shelves are bare. The supply chain is cut off. And where Russia is doing what they think now, those are the things that we have to attack and fix. Not this nonsense about the Kunta Kinte and that and that. No, help us fix that. Now that part, if somebody in the parliament is not attacking that properly because they're running about who to keep out of the party, who to keep out of the this, who to keep out of that, and I alone want to be the strategist. No, it can't work like that.
What you're talking about is pretty novel. You're suggesting that you're going to work while you are your ambition is to be party leader. You really are going to be working with Mrs. Pasabi-Sessa as a partner in the parliament while you tackle the ground. That's interesting, which means you really be working together in for your overall objective. Let me say, is that what you're saying? You think Mrs. Pasabi-Sessa will be open to that?
Well, I hope I can change the dynamics.
Have you had a conversation with her about this type of approach?
She wouldn't go for it. So that's why I have to go to the membership.
Yeah. What is your feedback from the membership thus far? Because I'm sure there are some people that may support you, but there may be some who are antagonistic to you putting your hat in the ring.
Well, as I said before, Richard, 51% of people will support you for something. 49 will attack you. Right? I'm being attacked because Ms. Pasabi-Sessa is their dream girl. But there's a 51% that's saying, yes, it makes sense. Let us go with it. We just have to wait and see. The campaign is short. She's given us short time. We are not getting the membership list until the 16th of June. The elections on the 26th. Everything is being kept back. Whereas they are at an advantage. They have the names, they have the telephone numbers, they're calling people already, right? So is a matter of yes, we are at a disadvantage. But because we are at a disadvantage, we don't shut up. We move on. We hope. We say, look, because at one time this country had 29 seats in the People's Partnership. Why they had 29 seats when the PNM was a strong party? People came out. I'm hoping the same thing will happen here.
But if it is that the party, because you're admitting that the party is not being democratic, that's what I'm reading from you.
No.
In terms of them, they're taking advantage of the list. They're using strategy to damage your prospects. Why would the country want a party that is using those kinds of tactics to sabotage you? I'm just reading into what you've said. Why should the country want to have that party lead the country?
Well, Paul, that is what's happening now. Hopefully the membership will see that and change it. And we can change that approach and make things free and fair.
How would you respond to those who say, well, Mrs. Pasabi-Sessa, as a very astute politician, has been able to throw out all of you old guard, which she's basically successfully done, brought in a cadre of new people who are very loyal to her, put them in pivotal seats in Parliament and in shadow ministerial positions. What does she need you for? Because she's already gotten rid of you, she's already cleaned house, so to speak, and replaced you all, a lot of the older guard of the UNC, with younger, fresher faces who are extremely loyal to her.
Well, you're quite right. She's done all that. Paul, you hit the nail on the head. But guess what she hasn't done yet? She hasn't gone into government. So her techniques are not working for government. Her techniques are working for herself. If she is interested in just making herself the pinnacle, and not the government the pinnacle, and not being in government the pinnacle, yes, she has done well. She has done well for Kamala. She hasn't done well for the party. I am saying to this thing, I don't want to do well for Fuad. I want to do well for the party. I want the party to go into government. I am not saying to you, you've not done well. Yes, you've kicked us all out. You've put in a set of newcomers who not handling the parliament with those A-class or people in the PNM. Yes, you've done well for yourself.
So you're saying you don't think the opposition is performing well in Parliament? Is that what you're saying?
Not as good as they can. They could do better. I was a parliamentarian, Paul. And I think it could be done much better.
But Dr. Khan, you've run into problems yourself with some of the statements that you've made over the years, that have been deemed controversial. I mean, you're very strong or you're a very strong opinionated person about what your views are, but you've run into some flack with regard to that. How do you think that affects your chances?
It could help it too. The thing about it, when you look at it, Richard, nobody expected Donald Trump to be president of the United States. His statements are just as controversial. People are ready for controversial statements because guess what? You're saying what people are thinking, but they're not saying. And at the end of the day, when I make my controversial statements, a lot of people stop me on the road and agree with me. And they say to you, I'm glad you said that. But they're afraid to come out and say that in open because the cancer culture and the woke crowd will come at them and jam them on different media. A lot of things that I say, I don't just say it out the top of my head. I think first and throw it out because that was what I'm realizing that the people are thinking, but they're afraid to say. A simple thing like
you're an agent provocateur then.
Basically, Paul, you know me long enough to understand that.
Yeah, you like to provide. I know you like
No,
to
no, no.
poke fire.
And when I was at the Ministry of Health, what I used to tell them, if first to fix something, you have to mash it up. And that's and you can't fix something and renovate it. And it worked.
What do you think should be happening now from the opposition's perspective in the parliament? If that is I guess that's the aim of any opposition, to hold the government more accountable.
The young parliamentarians are not experienced enough as yet in political spins and bouncers and googlies. And the PNM, Rowley is a master that invert, very good. And these are people who could spin all googlies around you and make it look as though it's some kind of illusion. People like Basdeo Pandey, people like Moving Assam, and the others on the outside need to come in to train them to do the same thing. Now, I'm taking a topic. Look at the simple thing that you all started off with this morning, the Kunta Kinte thing, right? Look at it. How it has been spun, moved back and forth, pushed before your eyes, pulled it back. That is what people, they want to get the base involved. We don't have that. We need that. And the person who's a master that was Pandey and Assam.
Are you willing to take some calls? Our audience always likes to interact with you.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're so candid. I think candid is the word. You don't put water in your mouth, as they say.
No, Paul. Why put water in your mouth? I all know. When you're old, you can say what you want.
Isn't that part of why there are challenges? If you're saying you're old, does the country need old politicians, or do we need a mix of old and young people who champion the cause? It's a mix.
Look at the PNM front bench and the back bench and the Senate. Old, young, and mixed. The past, the present, and the future. We need that in our own.
So we're taking your calls, 222 Talk, 222-8255, 612-8255. North Americans,
you can also toll-free line is now working. I will let you all know that.
The what? Sorry?
The toll-free line is up and running now.
Right. So North Americans, you can call us at 866-525-1099, absolutely toll-free. And but people on the message board, you know how to send your messages.
One of the issues that I think Trinidad and Tobago is facing, and you can respond, Dr. Khan, is the fact that we tend to, and I understand the political dynamic at play. I understand Dr. Raleigh basically did the same thing with the PNM when he took over from Mr. Manning. He kind of cleaned house and put new people, and then he brought back some people later on. He kept some core people like Minister Imber and others, but he brought in a lot of new people because the party needs to see its way forward to the next generation. But we have a tendency in the country to try to discard persons who have experience and who understand the system. How can we get past that? Or is that just something that maximum type of leaders that we've had in this country don't seem to want to embrace because they feel, well, they want absolute loyalty and nobody open their mouth, is my way or no way. And that seems to be the way of the maximum leadership archetype in Trinidad and Tobago.
I think you're quite right, Paul. That is what's happening right now and the maximum leadership position. When Dr. Rowley did his thing in 2015, I think it was, and he realized down the road that, wait a minute, I really do rubbish here. I better bring in some older people. And I really do this thing because I didn't really handle this thing correctly. All of a sudden you saw, at least you saw Penelope Beckles, you saw Amory Brown, you saw Manning's son coming. You see these things. You're not seeing that in the UNC because the fear factor of people may dispose you, may argue with you, may tell you what you don't want to hear, may not want to hold on to your dress strings and be pulled up. That you need people.
The one difference though is that Ministers Beckles and Brown were very circumspect. They took their diplomatic postings out of the country for the 2-3 years. They weren't condemnatory of Dr. Rowley as much.
No, they didn't rock
I heard. But on the UNC side, yourself, Mr. Barrett and others were very condemnatory of Mrs. Pasal-Bisset. So there's a different kind of dynamic going on there. On both in either party.
Okay. Remember Mr. Patrick Manning? Patrick Manning and Mr. Rowley fell out, right? And Patrick Manning was big enough to give back Rowley his seat. Think it. And as a result,
he may have given him back his seat, but because Dr. Rowley was going to win that seat, but I never got the fact that they reconciled.
The party could give you a seat or take and don't give you a seat. If Patrick Manning has said, I veto his seat, he can't go back for election, he wasn't going to get it. That's Diego Martin West. It's a safe seat. And he got it because Patrick Manning was understood that, yes, he was against me, but he's a good thing for the party to attack in Parliament. He understood the quality of the man. I'm not, but that is what we need in the United National Congress. We do, Rowley went against Manning, but Manning still put him back. But at the end of the day, you have to understand something. We are not doing that in our party. We are moving the people who are the ones who are disagreeing with certain things. And that's the difference. The culture is totally different. The whole culture of the two parties are different.
All right. Dr. Khan, we do have a call online. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just checking the line. And I can say one thing. UNC got nothing but a dictator as a leader by moving all the old heads and bringing in the young who don't know anything with their snappy nose. So good luck to Mr. Khan. Bye.
Thank you.
Good morning, caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Khan. Morning.
Morning, sir.
You have a plan. You have a ground plan, nice, a strategy. But I will never the general agree to that. The general with Sister Kamala, she agree to your plan, your strategy.
Well, I have 3 weeks to make her agree.
Right. Thank you, caller.
You have 3 weeks to try and convince her of the value of your plan.
Yeah. Or convince the membership.
Well, shouldn't you win the leadership first? Then at least she may have to have a conversation with you.
Richard, politics is such a fluid thing. It could happen,
Dr. Khan, let me ask you a controversial question. So if this doesn't work out, you think parties like Gary Griffin and PDP are an option for you, or you're hardcore UNC?
Nah, I'm hardcore UNC.
So there's no other option for you, UNC or nothing?
No, I mean, Paul, at this level, I mean, why going to any other party, Paul?
But if you have something to offer and the UNC is not a place that's accepting you, and people like yourself and Vass and Barrett and others certainly have a wealth of experience and clearly the interest of the country. You ain't doing this for money. You did this because you like Trinidad and you love Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I want to live in a good country.
You want to live in a good country. And I think anybody will endorse that where yourself and Mr. Barrett are concerned. You all want a better Trinidad and Tobago. This is not about money for you all. So if the UNC is not an option, there are new parties propping up that may want to use your experience.
Okay, if I want to give to the country, the UNC, which is the second strongest party, does not want, right? Right? Then the only way I could go if I want to give the country is to go and join PNM.
Is that an option?
What I'm saying to you, Paul, is this. If I want to give to a country,
So if
why
Dr.
go
Roddy
and,
says, Dr. Khan, I find you have something to offer, come.
and do what? And help the minister out? I have no problem with that. Because the health needs to be done. We had a good plan in health, had excellent plan in health. My health card, which if they had kept it going, Paul, since 2014, would have revolutionized the whole system in health. They throw it away. And the thing about it, they don't have. And what I said, bringing specialist centers, not general hospitals, right? It would have changed the dynamics. When I said that, also another thing too, I saw in the papers. I started with Cuba to develop children hearing, to assess children hearing at the age of 6 weeks. So children could hear. It's true that they discarded that too, because if you can't hear, you can't speak, and you look stupid. And recently I see somebody touting up on the papers, a child was sent away for hearing, because loss of hearing, not get back the hearing. We could have been doing that in health since 2017. I had the Cubans here with the machines and everything else for that. Now, those are the ideas I put forward. Remember when Paul, when I said in Parliament that let us just decriminalize marijuana and get those people out thing, I was laughed at. Think it. When I
Back
said
then.
to stop human trafficking, you have to decriminalize prostitution and sex trafficking. People could come to the police and talk rather than being held as prostitutes. Nobody taking me on. Those are the kind of ideas I want to push forward in the country. However, before I could do that, my party is UNC. If they throw me out, right? What am I going to do with Joy Watson Duke unless he becomes prime minister? It's not about party and power. I want to contribute my thoughts so they could look at it and be part of a think tank. I will develop a think tank in the UNC with the older heads who will now generate ideas to give it to the younger heads. That's the plan, Paul.
But do you think people at those parties have any chance at all? Those third parties, as they call.
Watson Duke has the best chance because Watson could command 2 seats in Tobago like A&R Robinson, and because the Trinidad part of it could be equal, those 2 seats could carry it over and he could bargain with those seats. The same way A&R with his 2 seats became prime minister and president. Watson has that if he does it in Tobago. If he could capture 1 seat in Trinidad, and he asked me, and I said, go to a marginal seat. Work a marginal seat alone, or work 3 marginal seats, or 10. Don't work the whole country and capture 2 marginal seats in Trinidad, 2 in Tobago, and you're a prime minister.
Is he more, because some people suggest that he may have a chance of at least 1 seat in Tobago. Is he going to act more as a spoiler in Trinidad because his office is set up in Barataria, in the Barataria San Juan constituency? You once were MP for that area. Do you think he has a chance there?
If he goes in the Barataria San Juan, he could spoil the seat. But what he has to look at, he has to look at the polling divisions in all the marginal seats: San Fernando West, Lopino Bonne, Barataria, San Juan, St. Joseph. It have a couple. I can't remember off the top of my head. And if he looks at those and works the polling divisions, he could get 1/3 of the votes and go over the line. He could win about 3 or 4 marginal seats in Trinidad, 1 or 2 in Tobago, and he go on clear.
On the other side of it, can he act as a spoiler even if he can't win? Because he can certainly take votes from either the PNM or the UNC and diminish their chances.
Yes, he can act as that. So
what are your thoughts on Gary Griffith's National Transformation Alliance and its prospects?
Gary's a very strong person, but is the party going to be strong? If you understand what I'm saying. Gary will have to link up with somebody strong, fast.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay. Gary Griffith is the party right now. Nobody knows who in National Transformation. You follow what I'm saying? Watson Duke started off and has proved himself. He has a party. It won Tobago. Gary hasn't done that yet. What Gary has to do, because he's a strong person, is link with another strong person and form a bond. But trying to develop another party is going to be hell. Look at Philip Alexander trying to catch him, help him push out of the ground, but he's a strong person.
So are you? Because I saw it written that they're more like activist groups as opposed to full-fledged political parties. Would you agree with that?
Right now, yes, but no, Watson Duke's party PDP is like an activist group in Trinidad, but he's a man in charge in Tobago. You can't label him as such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose the NTA is on. You don't know at this point. You really don't know what the National Transformation Alliance is going to be made up of. So you really can't comment whether it's activist or not.
That's true.
You just don't know.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
But Gary is making enough noise to be heard.
Well,
but you're right. You're still Gary. You don't know who else the party comprises of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know he met with John Humphrey and they a couple of weeks back. I saw that photo. Katie is saying, what new mandate does Dr. Khan hope to give the UNC if he succeeds in obtaining leadership? Kamala's mantra was always about people first, which is hard to beat. Thank you, Katie.
Well, I'm about people first, but I'm bringing an extra thing I'm bringing back experience to the party, to develop the party forward and have a strong party structure. And that will, as I say, work together with the parliamentary arm of the party to develop a strong parliamentary arm. Right now, the party structure is the same parliamentary structure. And sadly, the two things is really and truly causing you not to focus properly. It's like if you're focusing on two birds with one gun, you're going to shoot none of them.
And on the other side of it, what is Dr. Rowley's greatest gap now, and what should he be doing to correct that gap, that shortcoming, as the government of the country?
As a good UNC, Rowley again that from me. I could tell him.
But it's for country. It's for country, though. You just said it's for country. What do you think is the PNM's biggest problem now in governing the country? Well, you don't have to give them the answer, but identify the problem.
Paul, I ain't doing that because I was taught by.
But you just say you love your country. If you love your country, tell them what they're doing wrong.
It's something called strategy, Paul.
You don't have the idea to fix it. It's your idea to fix it, but you could say what the country is lacking now more than anything else. If you love the country, tell us what the country lacking.
All right, here what to do. After the 26th and UNC reject me, call me back.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know UNC rejected you already? That way you just say there, you know. You just say after the 26th and UNC reject me, call me back. So you know they rejected you.
Paul, you're not listening. I said if.
You say and.
No, I say if.
I tape in this, you know.
Keep it back.
All right, Dr. Cad. Thanks.
Then you reveal your strategy.
So you don't want to tell us what's wrong with the country. What's wrong with the country, generally? What are people telling you on the ground that they're feeling?
You're not getting that from me.
I'm asking you to identify the gaps now. What are people telling you that hurting them the most in the country?
Crime.
Crime.
The worst thing is crime. They're afraid. They're afraid. Everybody's afraid.
People are feeling unsafe.
The bandits are not being penalized properly. You're going to jail, they feed you, they get you fat, and you come back out and you rubbish them again. Right? That's what's happening in the country.
But I said so this morning, there's no consequence to bad behavior and crime in this country. None at all.
Nothing. And the witnesses are not protected sufficiently. I remember once I told Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, and he kicked me out the room. I said, Ramesh, hear what? Why don't you put something in place that if a witness is attacked or dies, the person who is being charged is automatically guilty? You say, well, you're stupid or what? You see, you can't do that in law. I said, in law is the ass, then it's not for people.
You just frightened me there because you went against all the tenets of law I know about. Because if the person who is the witness died, the person automatically guilty. What trouble is this? For I can't have a nice day. You have a good day.
What way? Paul,
if the person who is the witness dies, the person is automatically guilty. But we can send you Korea.
So what way? So it's in your interest to protect the witness?
But you don't know if the witness is going to put enough evidence to convict the person. You just feel because the witness died, the person guilty. You're a real radical. You like Donald Trump and radical. Go and perform some surgery this morning and save some lives, please. Okay?
All right. Okay, Paul.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the. I didn't think you end up in a banter. Take care. All the
Dr.
best.
Khan, thank you so much for being on Forward.
If the witness dies, the person automatically guilty.
Thanks.
that is Roman law.
That's why Ramesh threw.
You should
That's
have
why
been-
Ramesh threw him out of the room.
Put him out of the office. You should have been Caesar in them time and Caligula in them time. In Rome, you should have been running Rome.
I tell you something though. 59% of the population will love that.
You are certainly from the Roman times. No two ways about it. You
I'll
is
go on,
Caesar
I'll go
and Commodus and them.
Okay, Dr.
You
Khan,
Caesar and
thank you.
Commodus and them.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Fuad Khan.
Dr. Khan, if the person witness die at all, they could die from a cold. The person guilty. that is
Ramesh say, but Ramesh say, but you mad or what?
Come on, office. You get me in trouble.
That's not plausible in law.
It's not law. Come on, my country. Come on, my office.
Get out my office. And close the door.
Get out my office before you make me strip me of my law degree and
Close the door.
close my door and don't come back. No, oh, I able there. Oh God, we can take a couple calls before 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes before we head to 8.
I think
Yeah, we
Wendell's
took
right.
in a call or two.
That's
Dr.
why
Khan,
Dr. Khan-
Dr. Khan just want to create some mischief in the election.
Dr. Khan's mouth will get him in trouble.
He doesn't know he win no election already.
Dr. Khan's
have a
mouth
call.
will get him in trouble. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Mr. Khan, if you all fight for country, I think we will be in a good space. But your situation is where right now you're not looking to fight for country, you're looking to fight for self.
He's not on anymore, eh?
Huh?
I say he's not on anymore. He just
Okay,
said
okay.
bye. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Miss Sampson. Good morning.
Good morning again, gentlemen.
Oh, wide awake. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I got that. I laugh for the day. Dr. Khan is a joker, you know. I love him. He's so. Listen. Oh God, I love his law. All right, yes, Dr.
That is not
Khan.
law though.
Dr. Khan, stick to your medicine and keep quiet.
He be a different kind of law. Imagine Dr. Khan's attorney general. We dead, yes?
Oh God.
He lock up everybody. He just want to find you looking guilty. Put that one in
But he
jail.
is making the valid point he's making though is that crime is really
The number one issue in the country.
serious issue for Trinidadians and Barbadians right now.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
feel extremely unsafe, and
Yeah.
he's right. There's
And
so many
they-
crimes that go unreported.
Yeah.
That is
People
the biggest issue in the country, crime.
And I think the confidence in the TTPS has gone down since Gary Griffith's departure, whether the government wants to hear it or not.
You're
but a lot-
absolutely right, and they
a
might
lot of
want to
people's
hear it,
confidence
but
has
the
gone.
confidence has gone down significantly, and people feel extremely unsafe. The kind of life we become accustomed living is not what we should be living at all. You basically when
The way you look there, I feel like it have an intruder in your yard.
I look so
I thought so too, yes. We talk about that, he just stretches his neck back and look.
No, but I mean, simple thing like, coming out on Sunday night to go to your play. You're still thinking about coming home and coming out of your car, even if the gate is electric and stuff like that, because it's so oppressive.
Yeah.
It's so oppressive, and you see people leaving the theater, and thank God you had a nice house, a little more than half, almost 3/4 house. But it's mature people primarily, and you want them to get home safely.
Yep.
And that's not always the case. So that's not how we're supposed to be living. Watch. News is next.
Let's get into it. All powered by Champlain Auto Services.
This is your news bulletin from Power
Recording
102
stopped.
Digital.
Contender for the post of UNC leader Fuad Khan has accused Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley of stirring his base